Welcome back to Crescent City Community College to work on your Master's in the Maasverse. Our current course is focused on Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah Janet Maas. Today, we're chatting chaps 81 to 89. Great year.
Warning, while we may be your giggling gal pals, we don't recommend listening to this podcast around little ears or ears that may be offended because we say bad words and shitty things. Last week, I said what? Earpods?
AirPods, yeah.
Yeah, AirPods. Yeah, we are a podcast. Now, relax those shoulders, unclench that jaw, clench that clam, and let's get into it.
Chapter 81. Time warped and stretched. I just want to sit with this for a minute before we get into the rest of the chapter summary. We have been screaming to the rooftops about time, and I just really wanted to highlight it again, that time can be changed. The death of an archangel of a world power could shudder through space and time. A second can last an hour, a day, a year. So yeah, time was chaotic. When Hunt looked around, and it looked as if it was all in slow motion while everyone looked at the bullet going straight through Micah's dome. He watched Bryce take Danica's sword, and he swore it looked like the ancient sword, ancient steel, cut through the very air itself as she cut through Micah. The noggin was now too.
I love it. Hunt was able to watch like Sabine's face, see the sword, like how satisfying for him.
Hunt watched her thinking it would be the final moments of her life before the synth made her its bitch. He watched his Bryce. They belonged to each other, cut through Micah's body in a weird slow motion in this warped existence. The synth healed her body quickly, and he swore that she would start going batshit soon, but she didn't. No haze of insanity. She was just dextering the fuck out of Micah. Hypaxia says the antidote is working. Hunt, confused. I thought you were only sending over the venom. She told him that she was able to make that ish stable, so she sent it, just in case.
The way you said that, Hunt confused. Was Hunt, because we've said that before.
Hunt's confused. Hunt is like Kevin, uses very little words to not waste time.
I knew the context, like you said it works, but the way you said it was Hunt confused.
It sounded like Kevin. Hunt confused. Well, we do always say Hunt's like a bro and like a caveman.
I know, it makes me laugh because now I just back to picturing like dumbass. I've grown to love him, but I don't think he's stupid anymore, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Hypaxia said, I sent the antidote to her instead, just in case. And I feel like Hypaxia knows a seer or Bryce's cauldron blessed, but somebody knew something to help that along.
I agree with that. After the synth started dissolving in her body, she calmly walked to the supply closet. She dumped gasoline on little Mikey's body, and she did what? She lit that bitch up. She watched him burn and then looked right into the barrel of the camera to the world watching. Vengeance incarnate. She would bow to no one. No. We love a no bowing situation. We have our favorite girls refuse to bow, and I think Reese wouldn't want her to bow either. No. Time started speeding up. Micah's body was a kingdom of ash, if you will. Sirens wailed as the Ox finally showed up, and no one spoke a word as Bryce used her Dyson to vacuum that bitch up.
This is dating me, but it is giving waiting to exhale, walking away from the burning car. But this scene did really solidify Bryce as one of my favorite female main characters because, like, what a badass move. Like, she's fucking calm, cool, collected, so unbothered that she is just vacuuming up this higher power.
Well, I know you're a cleaning enthusiast, so this probably just brought you a lot of joy. That she was like, time to vacuum.
You know, really, really comparable to a sex scene for me, that vacuuming motion.
Can't relate, but I love that for you.
Chapter 82. Bryce dumped Micah in the back, a proper burial. Syrinx was alive, Wahaba was not. Jessica was blowing up her phone to make sure that she was okay. Jessica had let her know that everyone at the summit saw what happened. Now the truth about the horn on her back was revealed. Shit was not going to be great, and she knows it. After puking, when no one had come to punish her for what she did, she heard screaming, and now shit was not great. Honestly, like, good on her for taking a moment to rest and not giving a fuck about anything around her, to tell the Ox that it was just an explosion, no biggie. Like, she works really well under pressure. I think that's why Jessica hired her.
Probably. Yeah. I agree with that.
Solidified her next job interview for sure with this.
Okay, something I think we really need to talk about is Bryce said she pulled her phone from the pocket in the back of her leggings. Is Bryce wearing jeggings or is she wearing a workout leggings with a pocket on the ass? This is an important question. And we will revisit this in a fucking chapter.
So I worked at PacSun and we had these really ugly jeggings that had back pockets that looked like these toddler leggings that when I worked at Carter's and Oshkosh, like same vibe. And so now I picture Bryce with like toddler legs, like in Deadpool, just vacuuming. That's where my brain goes.
It's just unfortunate.
My brain.
No, the leggings.
Oh,
Also, Jessica's saying, tell me that you're all right. Our girl cares about BB, and that makes my heart feel fuzzy and potentially like a little lukewarm, you know? Not fully
I love
warm, but
it. Her motherly instincts really kicking in.
she's like, tell me you're all right.
Only so she can tell her that the books are all right.
Right. That's probably it.
Sandy was shell shocked at our clean vacuuming up the mess that Micah made by existing. Daddy thought him had Daddy thought him had Declan and co monitoring Lunathion while Hunt and Rune worried for a girl because they are worried she's going to be 86 from life for what she has done. Hypaxia is a real one though. She took Hunt's manacles off and told him that there are bigger issues at hand. They thought Micah's experiment hadn't worked. Turns out it sure diddly did. I don't know
Sure.
why I channel Flanders.
I like appreciate it. Chapter 83. Bryce force gumped it all the way home with Syrinx in her arms. Fucking Micah had wielded the horn with great success. It opened a portal right through the mouth of the heart gate, drawing upon the magic in its quartz walls. He opened a portal that went straight into hell. Winged scale demons from the pit soared out of the gate.
I think we've seen hell before in Throne of Glass because we love to point out when the books are overlapping. When Selena is between two realms fighting Cain and the poison in her. So the world spun black and mist and blue as Cain grabbed her and shoved her against the clock tower once more, her face smashing into the stone. When she opened her eyes, the world shifted. Blackness was everywhere. Deep down, she knew it wasn't just a hallucination. What she saw, who she saw, truly existed just beyond the veil of her world. And the poisonous drug had somehow opened her mind to see them. There were two creatures now, and the second one had wings. It was grinning just as Selena didn't have time to shout as it launched into flight. It threw her to the ground, and its claws ripped at her. She thrashed, where had the world gone? Where was she? And then, after Elena sketched a word mark on her brow, then it was gone, leaving the swirling crowd of the dead and damned and Elena still before them. So not only have we seen hell, what she saw was the worlds right on top of each other, like Baba Yellowlegs said. And I get more into this in chapter 88, really driving home the point that time is a rift. Also, Demons in the Sky reminds me of the Battle of Velaris. For example, the adder was referred to as a demon, had leathery wings, gray skin, and razor teeth. And Bryce said that there was no end to snapping teeth, the leathery wings, the raging lightless eyes, and cut another with gray skin and curved claws. And I love the crossovers.
So one thing about the adder is I know I'm not picturing him correctly, but I think out of like all of the demons, that one, he would probably like scare the shit out of me the most. Because
I picture like Voldemort-esque with wings.
yeah, like scary. I still love that I pictured the worm to be like a friendly worm.
Like, God, what is it? The hungry caterpillar, like that kind of face.
Yeah, like, and he's blind, but I picture him kind of like, the song they use, do 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 do, like when something's like slow and doesn't know what it's doing, like
And
that.
that's how she was Vera.
Yeah, and Vera's like, I got this, and you're like, do 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 do. That's
Well,
not
it
like
makes sense since the girl can't read. Like that's same level,
right. That's how
same
I feel.
difficulty. They made it just for her.
She dropped Syrinx off with a food mountain and ran off with the Fendir family sword across her back and Hunt's handgun in her jeans. Note, no longer leggings. So I'm choosing to believe that they were jeggings earlier and not a fuck up by Sarah Janet. As I was saying, handgun in her.
Of all errors in books, it is the pants that is gonna just be the one that you point out.
Well, I felt like, in Sex and the City when Carrie's dating Berger and like she's like a woman from New York with a scrunchie, like just couldn't believe it. That's how I felt reading the leggings with a pocket in the last chapter. So yeah, this is something that I'm gonna be pissed about.
That's fair.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So the things I have to deal with. So her handgun in her jeans to the roof to survey what's going on, and shit was not good. Shut up. So it wasn't just
Well,
one
continuity error. Can't let it go.
just really bugging me. I mean, I am one of those people that notices in movies if like they fuck up for a continuity error, like or TV shows. It like kind of gets me off a little bit when I notice it. So just have to say that. You get off on cleaning, I get off on continuity errors and catching them.
There's two types of people in this world.
So it wasn't just one portal to hell that Micah opened. Nay, nay. It was all 7 gates. It was pure madness. Bryce called Juniper and told her to get somewhere safe, and Juniper told her that they are going to shut the doors early and they're frantic and won't let humans in. Juniper says she'll make them hold the doors. Bryce lies and tells her she's safe and to try and hold the doors as long as she can. Oh, and she loves her. Bryce texts Jessica and told her she's heading out into it because somebody needed to. Over at Summit HQ, shit was chaotic. Everyone was barking orders and making calls. Hunt recognized some of the worst demons pouring into the city through the gates. Hunt yelled at Sabine for the pack to go help the people without villas and enchantments, the Porsies and Muggles. And Rune yelled at the Thotham to fuck the protocols and go help those who actually need it. But Thotham wasn't interested. Isaiah was on the phone with Naomi and found out that the Comitium was under siege and the 33rd is being slaughtered. Sabine called Ethan telling him to await orders. Lynn was yelling at someone to surround the Rose Gate because they're just handing the city to them. Hypaxia calmly stood up, ordered someone in her phone to suit up and move out. They're heading in. Sabine told her they will all get slaughtered. Hypaxia pointed at Bryce on the screen and said, I would rather die like her than watch innocent die while I'm just sitting here. Hypaxia, she's a real one. On the screen, you could tell Bryce was saying something over and over. Deck isolated her audio and they heard her yelling for everyone to get into the shelters. Fury asked where she was going and Hunt instantly knew. The Meadows. Bryce kept running and refused to quit and thanked all her training with Randall and the boulders and pines of the mountains around her home and the gym. It had all been for this. So when Isaiah was on the phone with Naomi, he said the time warp was just some spell that went wrong. And I like that he was protecting Bryce here and not letting it get out that she is, in fact, the Horn. So good job, Isaiah. You get some points.
Good job, Isaiah. You get a pat on the back for doing your job.
So little info about the Asphodel Meadows in Greek mythology is a section of the ancient Greek underworld where most ordinary souls are sent to live after death. They are one of the 3 main divisions of the underworld, along with Elysium, where righteous souls are rewarded, and Tartarus, where vicious souls are punished. In his Odyssey, Homer locates the field of asphodel close to the land of dreams. He further refers to them as a dwelling place of the spirits of men who have abandoned their earthly labors. In later depictions of Greek mythology, it's where the people who lived mediocre lives went. I just find it a little curious that Sarah decided that's where the humans would live. Just the ordinary folk.
Considering they have very mediocre lives.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Chapter 84. While Hunt was watching his least favorite show of all time, everyone discovered their modes of transportation had been destroyed as well as the armory. Micah, that dirty dog, really fucked everyone here. Fury offers up her private helicopter that is off site. It's interesting how Fury's helicopter was miraculously off site. It seems like a very cauldron blessed incident.
She definitely has some insight that not the average Joe has. From hell?
She's just got several steps ahead.
Mm-hmm. All the time. And you could look at it as like, well, maybe it's because her experience would make her think steps ahead, or maybe it's her connections, where she's from. Who's to say?
My vote is connections.
Samesies.
Hunt is yelling at Sabine to get a wolf pack to Old Square, but she is saying that there are none. That's when the Prime chimes in that there is a one-man wolf pack in Old Square. Guess who it was? Bryce. Sabine tries to argue, but the Prime knows that she is a wolf at heart and calls her a true wolf. Hunt then asks for a phone and calls the BQ and asks her for his owed favor.
Bryce being called a true wolf is definitely a theme in the Maasverse. People that call themselves wolves, Kaltane, Feyre, Selena, specifically Selena over at Aelin, Nesta, and now Bryce.
All of them being referenced as wolves would track since in a lot of folk tales they are depicted as ruthless, fierce, and represent nobility and loyalty. But the interesting one to me is Kaltane. Not that I'm against it at all, but I feel like she's an interesting outlier.
I don't see her as an outlier just because she was ruthless and fierce, plus just the level of like sheer fucking determination to eat that damn Valg that was in her is very wolf energy to me. And I think she even had a line that was something like she thought she was going to be royalty and then, but she's really a wolf. And I think it's sad because Kaltane's story, wouldn't mind like a novella of. Like I think she would have been a very interesting character, like a badass like these women, but we just never got to see it. But I'm with you. She's not an
Yeah,
FMC.
because she was thrown in.
Yeah.
I would love a story of like what happened,
Yeah.
everything behind the scenes on her, because yeah, I guess now that you put it that way, it does make sense at the end of the books, but just because she
In
didn't
the
have the
yeah,
same type of storyline as like England, and she wasn't really she's not a main character, she's a secondary, so I guess I just didn't put her in the same category, but she did do so fucking much for this story.
totally. And I mean, she saved them in a lot of ways, but it's almost like Lysandra could be considered like if we just had the beginning of Lysandra's story, and we didn't have her growth at the end, I feel like that's how it was with Kaltane. Obviously, she has her hero moment, but we never got to see her badassery. I mean, we saw a pretty big part, but
A moment of silence for Caltaine.
pouring out for the homie.
My invisible drink, because I am 9 months sober yesterday.
Congratulations.
In Norse mythology, the wolf Fenrir was a symbol of chaos who eventually swallows Odin whole. However, the wolf was also associated with warriors, so once again, that does track. And Odin had two wolves as loyal companions. Fenrir, like as in similar to Danica Fenrir, at the wolf in this series. I would say she was a symbol of chaos because look at what she truly did unleash. She got this ball rolling.
She sure did. And not to mention, we have Fenris from Tog and his brother Connell, which would be two wolves as loyal companions to Maeve, and then one didn't end up so loyal. And then in the beginning of this story, we talk about Luna, and her statue has two wolves at the bottom, like Odin. But no, not loyal. One of them wasn't.
I don't want to quote a woman beater, but these hoes ain't loyal. So I did quote it anyways, and as I support the Autumn King all the time. I don't support him. I know he's a bad person, but I believe I can change him. And I say that often because I could.
Totally.
Bryce
I'm not.
called Jessica to tell her she needs backup and she was heading for the shelter near the Mortal Gate, but she was told that there was no backup. Bryce told him that there were children there when Ethan, who was patched in to the call through Declan's sick technology, said he was coming and that the whole pack was coming. That's what she said, despite pissing Sabine off. All the canine crew joined the wolves to save the children. So I am so immature because every time I see the word coming, I'm like, good for them. But Ethan does get points for this. He may have a good moral compass in this moment. He's still annoying as fuck. Like, literally, my worst fuck, marry, kill would involve Ethan and Kale.
Add an 80 and it's really a party. Ethan has a good heart. We know this, especially in the later books, but he has a good heart. He's just fucking annoying. And I don't know why, but reading the line last night, I'm coming, we're all coming. That's what she said. I like teared up a little. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know why. I just did. I'm bleeding this week, guys. So
Once again, there are two types of people in this world. The ones for coming, you either cry or get off.
Chapter 85. Bryce was starting to slow down, but she stayed locked in. When she got halfway down the block from the Mortal Gate, she planted herself at the intersection, sheathing Danica's sword and Hunt's rifle ready. She had 6 rounds left. Bryce shot a couple demons, and then a demon came at her, but she was out of bullets. The demon and her were knocked in the road, and she was able to get her knife from her leg, but a massive sword plunged through the demon's head. It was one of the Viper Queen's Fae bodyguards. 6 more of the Fae bodyguards went on attack, and a shit ton of wolves, foxes, and canines followed suit. So,
Wait, you're telling me that there was 7 guards?
I know, right? So, did I not say that in there? Oh, I thought it. So that's funny. I didn't say it. I was like, didn't I say that? But I thought it. Fucking number 7, always. So, with these Fae bodyguards, their blue lights glowed along the black emblem of a cobra. So I looked up in the Maasverse whenever else we would see blue lights. In Tog, we have when she was fighting Cain, a blue light burst from Elena's hand. A mark with blinding blue light was on her forehead. The eye of Elena was a blue light, and Aylin's flame was often a blue light. Yes, she had the white power, which we'll get into, but it does sometimes have a blue light, the flame. In ACOTAR, Az's power is a bright blue light. I just found it interesting.
But I found this on the color blue for a UK art website, but it said blue pigment is notoriously hard to come by in nature, except within precious minerals like turquoise and sapphire. So it's a hard color. The rarity of blue within these natural spaces led early humans to think of the color as precious and mystical. The color blue has had a long and complex relationship with the human form, but has inherently been used to connect the spiritual and human worlds. So I wonder what its meaning is here.
And I'm going to be honest with you, when I think of blue as a power, or like that, I think of Hades from Disney's Hercules with the bluish tiny flame. So my thought that Azrael potentially a prince of hell makes sense to me. As well as like if you look at Disney Merlin, blue. Like they use blue a lot when it comes to magic. The blue fairy. The symbolism. Whatever. Kylie just nodding. Yes. Yes.
Because I agree. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, like they use it. Another demon came after her and Ethan finished it off. Kylie, that's what she said. Bryce killed
That's what she said. I don't know why I did the motion. I'm so sorry.
Bryce killed another demon. The two smiled and they had the silent combo that they would speak later. Over at the summit, Sandra walked in the room telling them there's nothing they can do for the city and they are to remain there. Asteri orders. They're sending help. Declan did the countdown of when the gates would close as they watched Ethan and Bryce taking demons down in tandem. With 30 seconds left, they ran to the gate. There wasn't enough room for both of them, and Hunt knew what she would do. She pushed Ethan forward into the gate, and the metal door shut. Hunt could see it in her face that for once she had no idea what to do. Bryce did have an idea. As she ran, a demon attacked her, but she got away. She just needed to get to Old Square, and she was very much alone. All by myself.
This is such a high stress part in the book, and I will be honest to everyone else that once Lahaba died, I cried the entire rest of the book. I cried from 80% to 100%. Full fucking ugly sob because like so much happens. Like she just pushed Ethan. She is sacrificing herself for others left and right, and that is just so emotional. I almost cried writing these chapters because like what a fucking great human to just continuously give herself up. Great
And
FMC.
it is like Sarah's MO. Aelin did it all the time. Feyre was willing to do it constantly. And I love that. It's a good one.
Chapter 86. Bryce, who has not made the drop, is running out of steam. Everyone is stressed, seeing her slide to the ground. Rune shaking his head. Daddy Thotham is clearly so overwhelmed with decision paralysis that he does nothing, and Hunt wants her to get up when she calls Hunt's phone, not expecting him to answer. Hunt is begging her to get somewhere safe, and Bryce is asking him to say goodbye to her mom and dad for God, this is so emotional. Tell Fury she is sorry she lied, and Juniper thanks for everything. Tell Rune that she forgave him a while ago, actually, all while not knowing half of them could hear her say goodbye. Bryce's goodbye to Hunt is heart-wrenching when she tells him that she was waiting for him, hand over her heart. He begs her to go find safety. Bryce tells him she forgives him for everything and ran for the gate. Okay, Bryce's goodbye to Rune was devastating. I, once again, wanted to sob while writing this shit, but I forgave him a long time ago. I just didn't know how to tell him. Tell him sorry I hid the truth and that I only did it because I love him and didn't want to take anything away from him. He'll always be the better one of us. And so obviously Rune got a little confused here, not knowing his little sis is Starborn too, not yet. Now that this is said, I am excited to watch the growth in their friendship, sibling relationship. Also, why am I a Thoughtum King apologist? Like, I really am giving him the benefit of the doubt here when the Autumn King said nothing, did nothing as he watched his daughter on the feed Declan placed on the main screen. And that sounds like shock to me. Then tell Randall, she clarified that I'm so proud I got to call my father, that he was the only one that ever mattered. Like, I really could change the Thoughtum King so he could matter.
Let me just preface what I'm about to say. I know what happens in future books. We're going with the books. I'm not spoiling anything. But to play devil's advocate, I'm really hoping the Thottam is playing the long game, you know? We'll come through in the end, and maybe he was doing the right thing all along, but was content with everyone thinking the worst of him, like Reese. And we may never know if he was, but maybe we'll get intel in a different way later on, like journals or something.
Like all hotties deserve a redemption arc. And so I'm hoping that this asshole, absolute prick hottie gets his redemption arc someday.
Someday. And we may not see him get it while alive, but maybe down the road if he potentially dies or something, we find missing information. Chapter 87, like Travis Kelce. As Bryce was in front of the gate, she started to glow. A pulsing light came from her chest. She opened her eyes and calmly said to the gate, I am Bryce Quinlan, heir to the Starborn Fae. Her hair drifted above her head, bits of debris floated around her as if gravity ceased to exist.
I was staring at this line and then I looked at our notes and I saw that you had it here. And we saw something similar happen with Aelin in Kingdom of Ash. The stones began shuddering, rowing threw out a hand to brace himself, fear like nothing he had known, ripping through him as Aelin lifted her arms above her head. A pillar of fire shot up around her, lifting her hair with it. The wave roared and roared for her, for the army behind her. As just very similar. Same vibes. Because when she says, I am Bryce Quinlan, heir to the Starborn Fae, and her voice was serene, wise, and laughing, it's giving God. Aelin herself said she was a god. Same vibe.
I fully am on board. And next book, we will dive deeper into the Starborn god lineage and throw in some hell. Why don't we?
Maybe some witches.
Maybe. Who's to say? I mean, we are, but we'll see.
Who's to say us? Yes.
Us, we are the same. So we get a flashback to the instant back in college. Danica has a blood-soaked hair, 2 gunshot wounds to her leg. The asp shifter called her a stupid C. He was waiting for bullets his friend was getting. The rescue mission of the animals failed. Danica tells Bryce she loves her and is really sorry. As the guy comes back with the bullet, Bryce tells her to close her eyes. The gravel around Bryce begins to shiver. Bryce begins to float upward. Bryce's hair drifted as if it were underwater. Bryce repeated herself to close her eyes. The shifter tells them, yeah, you better close your eyes. But Bryce exploded. White, blinding light unleashed from the secret place inside her heart. The asp shifter screamed, clawing at his eyes. Bryce disarmed him and shot him and did the same to his friend. She ran to the guy in the truck and shot him too. Slowly, she spooled the light back into herself. This is the secret she kept from her sire, the Steri, from Midgard, from Rune, from everyone. She goes on to explain what it is. The pure light of a star from another world. From long, long ago, the gift of ancient Fae reborn again. Light, but nothing more than that. Not an Asteri who possessed brute power of the stars, just light. It meant nothing to her, but it meant something to Rune. She could tell it gave him an edge with their shitty dad. Sorry, Kylie. And the pride he had for her being starborn blessed and chosen by Wyrd. Blue light and olive trees filtered back in. She went to Danica, worried what she would see on her face, but all she saw was wonder and love. Bryce felt relieved her secret was now out. She was surprised Rune didn't catch it before. As a kid, she thought it was a useless gift. She had used it to blind her father's men and the oopsie with the oracle. She let Rune have the glory of being starborn because it meant something to him. She ran to the gate's court's archway. She was starborn, and the horn lay within her. She thrust her starlight in the gate as the stone and whispered, close.
I'm pretty sure she was singing Oops, I Did It Again.
Yeah, she definitely did. She's a big Britney gal. Actually, I think she would like Britney, but
100%.
mm-hmm.
So when Danica sobbed, I love you, Bryce, the words rippled between them, cleaved Bryce's heart wide open. The gravel around Bryce began to shiver, began to float upward. Danica's eyes widened. Bryce's hair drifted as if underwater in deep space. Just like Blakely said earlier this episode, when an archangel's death shudders through time and space. And I wonder if Danica had not said that, would Bryce have saved them? Because through love, all is possible. It's almost like that love cleaved Bryce's heart open and allowed her to use the starlight for Danica. But in saying that, like, it's the same thing as an archangel, they were created by the Asteri. It's just very godlike, similar, like that it would have such an impact throughout the world and space. But let's get into some Rune talk because we're going to get to know him more in the next book. But can you imagine like the emotions that he was going through? Obviously, Bryce is dealing with some bigger shit, but he just realized like how much she gave up for him. He heard his sister say goodbye, and now he's realizing all that she hid from him just to protect him. I can't imagine what he's going through in this moment.
No, it's sad.
He's going to have a lot of growth, and I do love Rune. Rune has been solid for me through both reads. Little whiny, a little young. He's not a 500-year-old fae. He doesn't have that experience.
No.
Well, anyways, before Bryce shoots her star power at the gate, the book says the quartz of the gate was a conduit, a prism, able to take light and power and refract them. She closed her eyes, remembering the rainbows this gate had been adorned with on the last day of Danica's life when they had come here together and made their wishes, which makes me think about a conduit for a gate we've seen before in Throne of Glass. So Dorian had raw power. Selena had said, power to be shaped as he willed it. That was the only thing similar enough to the power of the word keys, neither good nor evil. And crystals, Kale had once read in Selena's magic books, were good conduits for magic. This is similar to Bryce's star power in the way she wholly removed the star itself. She'd only glowed and blinded, never summoned its burning core from inside her. Her knees wobbled and she gritted her teeth against the strain of holding the light in place. So she took it out and held it as raw starlight. And I just see parallels here. Mm-hmm. But we have also seen the term prism in Kingdom of Ash. Light flowed through the lock, fracturing like a prism, shooting to all those infinite doorways, closing and sealing and shutting, an archway to everywhere, now sealing. Aelin used light, just like Mala's, very similar to what's going on with Bryce closing the gate with her starlight.
And with that, I'll just keep talking about the other BBs in the Maasverse that had white light. Mala, Lady of Light, Learning and Fire, Sun Goddess, and Light Bringer. When Aelin's flame did not When Aelin did, that flame did not burn, flame that was mere light, blinding white. Light leaked through her clenched fingers, cold white light. Fire like ice, fire stolen from the stars. Deanna. Just one to mention, fire stolen from the stars is a very intriguing line, considering that's what they say the Asteri did. So I really think we will be looking at the difference, if there is much, of gods and the Asteri and their power in future books, because there's a lot of parallels there of the Asteri and the gods' power.
And the Asteri are thieves, like who existed before them.
Mm-hmm. And Yrene also her magic had been like a pulsing star, burning white light. So all very similar. That was her healing power.
And ironically, Yrene's was the one that helped kill the Valg.
Mm-hmm. So I think more and more we'll take a look at starborn power in these upcoming books for sure. But the Asteri sounds a little too similar to me for gods.
I can't wait to get more into books so we can start unleashing everything.
It's so hard. I'm biting my fucking tongue, but
keeping them buttoned up is very difficult, which everyone should be really proud of us.
Mm-hmm. They should. Probably not, though.
Chapter 88. So, holy fuck, this broad had starlight the whole time, and she was flashing it all into the gate. All the demons were blinded by the light, revved up like a deuce, all runners in the night. Rune was unwell at realizing Bryce revealed that she was his rival. Her star power was one that hadn't been witnessed since the first wars. Everyone was like, damn, girl, because Bryce used that power and sealed the portal. One down. I love how we call all the gates by their nickname and not their government name, word gates. So let's have some words about the word. So Baba Yellowlegs in Throne of Glass, an ancient with a capital A, predicted this fun event happening when explaining about the word to Aelin. Also, this blurb reiterates the SJM multiverse of madness. The word governs and forms the foundation of this world, not just Aurelia, but all life. There are worlds that exist beyond your knowledge, worlds that lie on top of each other and don't know it. Right now, you could be standing on the bottom of someone else's ocean. The word keeps these realms apart, which means Throne of Glass, A Court of Thorns and Roses, as well as Crescent City can be happening at the same time in the same place, but still be in the past, present, and future. Time is not a straight line in these books. Time is a rift, guys. Also, this ties in the writing on Bryce's back being written in word marks because it is the language of the universe because it is so old. Baba Yellowlegs says Wyrd forms the foundation of all life. The Wyrd keeps these realms apart unless you have a horn with that ancient language on your back that can open those realms up. Then Baba goes on to say, Wyrd on nickname basis. There are gates, black areas in the Wyrd that allow for life to pass between the worlds. There are Wyrd gates that lead to Aurelia. All sorts of beings have come through them over eons, benign things, but also the dead and foul things that creep in when the gods are looking elsewhere. And look at that. All these demons are running rampant across the city, and realms got opened.
Reminder, Wyrd means fate and destiny. So you look at it like
The fate gates?
there we go. And when things go through the gates, it can change the destiny. They are of the gates of the universe. And to bring it back to what Kai just said just a second ago, was word marks being the language of the universe. It's all about the word, man. Word to your mother.
Word. WYRD. I looked the spelling and I was like, how do I spell it?
But I just said word to your mother, and it's like the mother in ACOTAR.
Okay, we're going to breeze past the Autumn King calling Ember. And it was not a call that he was expecting because he called Ember a bitch. And then she shared it was Bryce that took out all of his Goonie balloonies. What blinds an oracle? It was not a riddle. It was a true question. Daddy thought I was pissed. She had no power according to this test. But what Bryce had is not power. It is a gift of starlight, light, and nothing more. Ember goes on to share that after she met Rune and how prideful he was being the chosen one, she couldn't take his glory. She loved him too much. Ember ends the call with, and you left her on the curb like garbage. I hope she finally returns the favor, you fucking asshole. Once again, poor Rune. His heart just getting ripped out and stomped on, hearing everything that Bryce did for him. Bryce with her big heart and big butt. I would definitely be calling my therapist if I were him because this is a lot to unpack.
It is a lot to unpack. When you reading, it is not power, it's a gift of starlight, light, and nothing more. It really brings it back to Mala giving Aelin her light.
Full circle again.
Mm-hmm.
Hunt was reflecting on his combos with Bryce, where she told him without telling him, when there is a hand on his shoulder, Queen Hypaxia quietly used her power on him to remove his halo. She essentially gave him permission to kill that dumb bitch Sandy. This was as Sandriel slid her phone into her pocket. Rune asked what she did, but that fucking loser told the Asteri and took care of a problem. Because now, if Bryce willed it, the horn could open a portal to any world, any realm, and the Asteri are not big fans of people with that kind of power. Sandy is like, she can easily die. She hasn't made the drop. Wrong thing to say as Hypaxia's magic officially dissolves the halo. Once again, Hypaxia is a real one. Fuck these archangel assholes.
They suck. Chapter 89. The conference room was shooketh. Rune was distracting Sandy as Hypaxia removed the halo. Sandy realized a little too late all the mistakes she just made, and she was terrified. Lightning erupted, the entire room cracking with it. Time shifted, slowed. Once the lightning stopped, time began its normal pace. Once again, time shifted and slowed because an archangel died, but I think Hunt's level of power being unleashed on the world again caused a ripple, which is something we are tracking throughout all of these freaking Maasverse books.
You said Sandy realized a little too late, and I really think we could write the soundtrack because it was JoJo singing, it's a little too late.
I read something else.
For Sandy in this moment.
I can't remember what it just was, but I read something else in there where I thought of a song. Dramatic. It was Grease Lightning. That's what happened. Of course. Hunt has Sandriel's severed head in hand. He slowly lifts the head above him. All the angels in the room knelt on one knee and bowed. This sort of power hadn't been seen in centuries. Hunt smiled a feral smile at the Autumn King, and he paled. Hunt looked to Fury and said, "Fuck this dairy. Get your goddamn helicopter over here." So in this, they say, as if he were one of the ancient heroes of the Reagan Sea surveying a slain creature, a monster. Reminder, Reagan means royalty.
It really feels like when he got his halo removed and was then crowned royalty in this moment with an invisible crown when everyone bowed. I mean, he is an archangel and just took out 2. So does he technically assume position because he took one out?
Right, like it's a coup d'etat. Now he's in charge.
Yeah.
I'm the captain now.
Yes.
That's what Hunt said.
Yes, that is exactly what Hunt did. He looked at Sandriel and was like,
I'm the
with his
captain
lightning.
now. Hunt was literally sizzling with power. Fury was like, the heli is already here, and they moved out. Hunt asked Ruin and Tharian if they were in, and to everyone's surprise, Amelie Ravencroft also offered to go, and of course Flynn. Declan pointed to the screens, telling that he will be their eyes. The helicopter was a military-grade helicopter. It was obvious Fury didn't expect this meeting to be friendly. Hunt shouted orders to the angels, and then while in the helicopter asked Fury if she knew about Juniper and Bryce's incident on the roof. Fury replied, Bryce was a ghost for a long while, Hunt. She pretended she wasn't, but she was. You brought her back to life.
When Hunt said to Rune and Tharian, Dan and Keto suit in, like the boys are back in town, just started playing in my head, like, gang's all here.
We really could do a soundtrack.
But we should. We might as well make a playlist, and it
Right.
would be terrible. Not flowing at all.
Very millennial coded the whole time. And just one word will spur
Yeah.
the whole song.
Exactly. I also want to point out that Fury X-Star had not come to this meeting expecting it to be friendly. I think it's interesting because does Fury talk to the same person who told Hypaxia to give Bryce the antidote? Like, why did she know to have her military-grade helicopter offsite?
And ready to roll.
What do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was ready spaghetti.
But she doesn't know everything, she was surprised with Bryce's power. But she's clued in on something. So I'm just curious how.
Well, think about how the Oracle, like, she can see a lot of things, but
Yeah.
certain things are
Are
veiled. So I wonder if it's like an adjacent situation.
Maybe, yeah.
What if this was like her visit with the Oracle and like she visited the Oracle and all this shit was predicted so she knows what to do?
Possibility. Or if people in hell
Who's to say?
told her. Who's to say? People in hell might have told her.
Or where do oracles come from? Are they buddies with hell? Who knows?
Well, witches.
Because they're ancient.
Yeah, and witches could be definitely with hell. So thanks for giggling through our journey with us today. We have a new episodes every Wednesday. Join us next week as we head into our final episode of Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood.
We will have a 1-week gap between episodes and then return with Crescent City, House of Sky and Breath in the new year. So make sure that you're following us on social media for all of our latest updates, theories, and more new book goofing. Don't forget to hit subscribe and give us a review wherever you listen. All links are in our info. You Giggle and Gal Pals. We will see you next week.